Once upon a time, there was a shed on a railway with a lot of engines. Some of these engines you already know. One of these engines was called Frederick. He was a blue engine and was very snooty. I tell you what, Edward, many of us will put you into early retirement. Edward scoffed. He wasn't afraid to stand up against the bigger engines. I'll tell you what, Frederick. I have worked on this railway and others before you even drawn up. Frederick just laughed. Ha! That's the funniest thing I have ever heard. You couldn't even pull a single truck. Neither can you. You always complain when you have to. Watch your tongue, old iron. You won't be this cheeky once you go straight through the buffers at the big station. Edward didn't waste his steam. He just shut up and backed into his sheds. Engines came and went, but Frederick stayed. He was in the fat director's good books, and Frederick begged him to keep him. A few weeks later, 2 new engines came, one from Scotland and the other was from Brighton. One of these engines was a smaller engine and shunted trucks and coaches. The other was a more premier express engine. Frederick spoke to the both, one more kind than the other. I say... Sorry, what's your name? The name's Nigel. What's yours again? Fred? The name's Frederick, you... Never mind. Have you pulled many express trains? Oi, Big Blue, your train's ready. Hey, I'm speaking to you. My name is Frederick, you quarter-wit. You and that old thing on wheels should watch your words, or you'll find yourself a scrap heap. Caw, dream on, mate. Just go take your train to wherever it needs to go. Is it coaches or trucks? Will you go if I tell you? Depends on what it is. It's trucks. But it's 3 trucks in a van. Bah! I shan't. My engine of stature should never do such demeaning work. The tank engine didn't respond, but looked at Nigel. I'm sorry, Thomas. I can't. I'm waiting for some workmen to do some things to my smoke box. That's fine. I'll ask Edward. Thomas puffed away, but he saw Frederick talking. He wasn't paying attention to what he was talking about, but he heard something about Edward being slow and out of date. As Thomas puffed to the yard, someone ran up to him. So sorry, mate, but this train and another has been put together, so you're going to have to shunt some more trucks. Really? This is becoming a very heavy goods train. The yardmaster told Thomas that it was a director's orders, so he rushed to get some more trucks. Some coaches were confused. I say, Thomas, what's going on? I thought the train was a stopping service to Wellsworth. Apparently, the timetable got switched, so 2 trains have been merged. Problem is, Edward has to pull it. We thought the big blue brute was going to pull it. Well, surprise, surprise, he refused to pull them. Don't say he's pulling us. No, he's not. I think Nigel is pulling you 2. Thomas left to get the trucks. He was struggling to get them to the platform. At last, Edward had arrived at the station. Thomas had told him about Frederick. If there's any way I could get him to stop belittling me, I have to pull that train, Edward thought. It may be painful, but I'll do it. Thomas, I'm pulling this train, but I may need your help. Edward backed down onto the train. Frederick slyly rolled up beside him. You should give up, Eddie. I don't want to see you strain. Edward blew his whistle and he was off. No strain. Frederick said it was good luck that he started, but Edward rushed down. Trees and flowers rushed by with a blur, and the rails were as smooth as butter. He rushed past Aylesbury and soon zoomed through Crosby. He arrived at Wellsworth to drop off the goods. An engine on the Sodor mainland railway took the rest of the trucks away, while Edward went to go refill on coal and water. Edward slowly, but proudly, puffed back to the big station. He saw the fat director and told him about Frederick. Really? Well, I'm getting a lot of complaints about him, so I'll stand up and send him packing. Edward went into his berth. Frederick asked him a question. Edward, how did you pull that whole train? It was twice the size of me. Well, all you need is perseverance and hope. You also need help from other engines. Edward winked at Thomas. You just need to be accepting of others. Frederick went silent for the first time that day. The fat director came to the shed. He told Frederick that he won't have such rudeness on his railway. Frederick agreed and puffed to the mainland next morning, and wasn't seen on the railway again. I'm surprised he didn't see me at the back pushing you, said Thomas. Me too, but I think it's done him some good.